Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner Davis.
That's right. That's right. We are live. Sounding good too, don't we? Sound check's pretty good, right?
It sounds a whole lot better. Sorry we're a few minutes late, guys. You know, technical difficulties will creep in when we're trying to do a good thing. So,
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But we're here. We're live. We made it.
Yeah. And we believe me, we try our best. We're doing what we can. Good evening. I'm Ed McQueen. I'm your co-host this evening and of course, none other than Miss April Garner Davis. We're here to bring you the best of what we have to offer in terms of communicating with our community and beyond. Okay, so this evening, I mean, we haven't delved into the culture of Bucksport in a long time, right? So, and those of us who know anything about it was a play that we had here at Conway High School. It was called Fences, and that was done by a local Bucksport native. Okay, produced that, and of course, people in Bucksport know him. But those of you who don't know him, his name is Mr. Erskine C Johnson III, and Erskine is here with us now. There's been an update on his activity, and most noteworthy is his transition into the ministry from acting. We took note of that and see what that journey looks like. Okay, so without further ado, April, let's see what Brother Erskine can enlighten us on a little bit more there. Yeah, well, he comes on smiling, so he must have a lot to say.
How y'all doing?
Good, brother. What about you?
I'm doing well. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure having a native right here 12 miles from Conway.
Come on. Bucksport, baby.
Yeah, Bucksport. All of that over there. So you been doing okay?
I have. I've had a lot of things go on, good things, and just truly trying to just be faithful with what's been given to me.
Absolutely. Sounds like a record of thanks for me.
Yes, sir.
That's what it sounds like, appreciation. So, Brother Erskine, a lot of people may not know a lot about you in terms of acting and stuff like that. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, you had the play at the Conway High School, and it brought in a lot of people. By the way, that was called Fences, and I don't know if people had gotten to know you a whole lot better beyond that. Why don't you give us a little background, including those movies that my understanding that you had a part in.
Yes, sir. So yeah, Fences was actually I think 11, 12 years ago. Long time ago. Literally, I think I had just moved to Atlanta. Was there for about a year. Started a production company, and then from there, one of the things, because I went to South Carolina State University. And we were really big on August Wilson. And so as I put a production company together, I got a bunch of cast and crew to truly just make this dream come alive. And so I thought it would be best to bring that play, Fences by August Wilson, what a lot of you may have seen in the theaters or Netflix or Broadway with Denzel and Viola Davis. And so, yeah, that was 2014. And in that time, I was actually working with Tyler Perry on the Have and Have Nots. Around that 2013-14 era. I was also on The Game on BET for a couple years. Shortly after all of that, I did If Loving You Is Wrong, and also Tyler Perry brought me back on the Have and Have Nots. Spoiler alert, I got killed, if y'all probably saw that. And yeah, just done a lot of different things. I've worked on Atlanta with Donald Glover, where that actual show won an Emmy and a Golden Globe. I've done shows with Heels, music videos, commercials, all the above. So I've definitely been blessed to be in this field.
And you've been busy too, obviously.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's good to hear that, man. Good to hear that. In April, you can jump in anytime you want to. I know you got some stuff you want to ask Brother Erskine. it's coming on as your production company is M2TI, right?
Yes, sir. So it was actually it was MDGP back in the day. So back in like 2013, 2014, we called it $1 Million Game Plan. And now my organization is M2TI, which is Ministry to the Industry.
So obviously you must have seen something that was missing there. You, looking at being in the industry all this time, and now you want to see what how much is if there's any synergy, I guess, between the religion and the acting.
Yes, sir. So pretty much, I've being in Bucksport, you kind of have to grow up somewhat religious. It's a lot of churches in Bucksport, but I was real privy to more so religion versus relationship in this season. So what was happening was while I was an actor and pursuing that, producing and directing, God pretty much took a hold of my heart in 2015. So as I was acting, doing a lot of different shows, I would say it was a lot of, for me, glorifying God with my mouth, but not my actions. I would say a lot of things, but my life didn't reflect any of that. And so as that was a gift that I believe that he birthed in me, and then also being in that space, but then also now allowing God to capture my heart, I just started to see things through a different lens. I started to see things in a way that I've never saw before, living a life of sin, but now moving with more so vision and mindset of the kingdom culture. And so what was that doing for me was I started to see a lot of people who were broken. I started to see how corrupt the industry could be and was at this time and still is. But I started to see where, again, as my life started to change, as I was continuing to move in my relationship with the Lord, I wanted that to be for other people as well. Because I know a lot of people have, church hurt, and, when you bring up Jesus or religion or anything, they kind of shy away from that. But I was able to finesse, in a sense, to communicate to people in a way where they would receive it, where it didn't come like a church service, as you will. And so really just moving into that, and Ministry to the Industry was actually birthed while I was actually a year into discipleship, a year of walking with the Lord. I had an opportunity to speak for the South Carolina Theater Association. Again, as I was a theater major at South Carolina State, they were bringing me back because I was on some shows and I was going to be a keynote speaker. And in that time, God was already doing something in me, and I really didn't know what to speak about. And pretty much God told me to speak about him, speak about what he did. So I had an opportunity to speak in front of 1,500 kids, high school kids at this conference. And that was my first opportunity ever preaching and also giving my testimony. But it was also how God showed me what Ministry to the Industry was going to look like. And that's truly providing a spiritual solution to a secular space.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine, Erskine, that that was quite challenging in the beginning. I'm sure that, as you talked about your spiritual journey and that transformation, that, you had your own personal challenges trying to just, find that balance. And, as you were crossing over, so to say, into that new realm of life, as we know, it's never going to be an easier battle simply because we're trying to walk that pathway, right? And so, as you were talking about the different things that you, I guess were kind of facing in terms of the reflection and things that you should do or wanted to do and how God was tugging on you, I can't help but think of, kind of stepping back for just a minute into like that spotlight of being a new actor, a young actor, someone who's working with, a force of the magnitude of a Tyler Perry, and how all of that probably had a great mental hold on you. It probably had a spiritual hold on you as well. So, how did you, I guess, find the balance in order to be able to make it through the first part of this journey, which was the acting, and not get sucked into the things that we see and that we hear about as far as actors kind of falling prey to certain things? And that's one question. And when was it that you really, really knew that you needed to turn that gift into something that would be more powerful on a spiritual level?
Man, that is an incredible question. Man, I would say, let's say starting off, well, let me just say that when you talk about balance, one of the things that I'm real big on is I don't believe in balance. I believe in priority. And I think a lot of times we get to this point of thinking everything weighs the same, and it doesn't, right? Your spouse doesn't weigh the same as your kids don't weigh the same as your career. And so what I've stepped into is more of like not trying to balance these things, but more of create a rhythm of priority. And so again, in the beginning, let me just be honest, I did not have it together. I was allowing the industry to suck me in because I was trying to get that check. I was trying to get on TV. Shout out to Betty Lou. I'm trying to buy a house. All those things.
And she's watching, you know she is.
Right. I'm trying to buy Bucksport. That's what I'm trying to do.
Right.
So, as I was just allowing the industry to do whatever they wanted to do for me, right? To really get to that point, that stature to say, okay, cool. Now I'm at this point. Now I can kind of do what I need to. And if I'm honest, again, it just came down to, again, I've never done anything too crazy where I was out here, wilding, but there were things that I just wasn't thinking about because at the beginning of my acting career, like I said, I was more understanding of religion versus a relationship with Christ. Mm-hmm. So I really wasn't, even in college, I went to church, we did the football thing, like the football team would go, but I wasn't being discipled. I wasn't really retaining what was being given to me. And so it was pretty much, I was actually working, I think it was with Tyler Perry at the time. And just to be honest, around that time, I didn't have money like that. There were times that I slept in my truck. There were times where I wasn't able to do, again, what I would want to. And what I felt was God pretty much put me in a corner. He pretty much stripped everything away from me. In 2014, again, this was coming off the play. This was, I'm working with Tyler Perry. I'm literally seeing myself on TV, but I don't have a dollar to my name. Right. And so all these things are happening. And again, I just remember what my Grandma Gladys Goss, what she always taught me: in times of trouble, lean on the Lord. And I'm very black and white. It's very hot and cold with me. I don't do gray. I don't do middle. So I just felt to just go all in. I had nothing to lose. I had nothing I owned but my truck and the clothes that I had. And so in that moment, it was me truly sacrificing, really giving everything that I was doing away so that I can truly become the son that he has called me to be. And so there was a period of 8 months of just me just sitting with the Lord and going to church and reading my Bible for the first time from front to back. And it was as he saw the faithfulness and me being obedient to that is when he started to insert acting back in my life. So when you talk about the balance or the priority of the rhythm, again, I wasn't as bold as I was starting off. Like I remember becoming SAG-AFTRA, basically union. This was a role that I did back in 2015 called Outcast. Be honest with you, it was a very demonic show. And the crazy thing is I remember being there, praying in my trailer, giving God thanks for this opportunity, but I was not talking about Jesus outside of my trailer. And it was very I know I'm supposed to do this, but I don't really know how I'm supposed to do this, right? And so that was just more of a season for me to really kind of learn and honestly just become discipled and to know this wasn't just something I was doing on Sunday. It was supposed to be something that would be a part of my lifestyle forever, from Monday to Saturday as well. And so it was a journey, a few years to the point where, again, becoming a little bit more bold, kind of stepping out there. And then, again, now that the scales have been removed from my eyes, as scripture talks about with Paul, now I'm able to see things differently. I was a dead man trying to live life in this way, but now it's okay, I understand how Christ wants me to see things now. So then I started getting the burden of that. My heart started to break. And I literally was man, there has to be something. There has to be an answer. And I remember just going back and forth with God, man, well, how come most people who are Christians just want to run away from this world? They don't want to help them. They don't want to speak to them or anything. And God just gave me this example of truly how he was wanting to use me to do it. And I'm like, God, you can use Denzel, you know what I'm saying, all them other boys who really out there. But what God has blessed me with is something very unique and very different, to the point where he is allowing me to use his son as an example, to live out righteousness in this way and be bold about it. And so I would say, I think I came on staff at my church in 2018. It was around 2018 where things started really going. So it was like 3 years of discipleship, of just me walking with the Lord, to really start to see the priority shifts. Like, yes, I worked at a church, but I also was still an actor, and I also was still a son. I still had it to, read the word for myself, and have community and accountability and boundaries and all these different things. But it got to that point where they started to come together. And I think a lot of times we as believers or non-believers, those who work in the workplace and different fields, we try to leave those worlds separate, when I actually believe that God wants them to coexist, of a lifestyle that you should live, not something that you should do here and do over there.
Mm-hmm. And that's a really profound message as people try to navigate, like you said, the emergence, the emergence actually of their personal life or their professional life. And, I know I'm, for one, I start my day off with some type of meditation, some type of prayer, because I automatically feel that before I get in that workplace, I have to be shored up and ready to go for whatever comes my way. And I think that, as people, go through their trials and tribulations and the different tests that they have to face every day, either things that are just like, being thrown at them, or that they, happen to walk into because of decisions that they make, they lose sight of the fact that, sometimes we are faced with these things because we have a higher calling on our lives, and we're supposed to take every lesson in gratefully, whether it's good or bad, and use it. And hopefully it's to God's will. And I think that what you're talking about, in terms of that priority, I like the way that you phrase that, because you're right. Everything, something has to take priority, meaning something has to be number one, before you can, move forward with anything else that's on your list of things to do. And, even if you circle back to the balance part of it, it's okay. The balance is, knowing when you've gotten too much of something, and when maybe you don't have enough, and you have to kind of shift some things or adjust. And I think that because we live in this world where stardom and entertainment and, being center stage and the money and the glitz and the glamour is just so much a big part of, just life and being. And young people are so drawn to it. If you ask any young person in school what they want to be, 9 times out of 10 they're going to say, I want to be a rapper. Yep. Or I want to be an actress or whatever. And so your message so far, especially about the tough times, is that we need to be real about what that lifestyle is all about, and how it begins, and how it flows, and how it may even end. So at this point, you have decided to merge your professional career in acting with that spiritual calling to be in the ministry. So tell us about that mergence, and what has happened since you decided to step to the other side.
I mean, again, just starting off, it was weird. If I'm honest, no one in the church could understand it. If I'm honest, a lot of them kind of didn't want me to do it. It was kind of the typical story of like, hey, when you give your life to the Lord, everything you used to do, you don't do that no more. Yeah, cool. But it's more of the way of you surrendering it. And then if it's something he wants you to do, he'll give it back to you. And so that's what happened for me. He gave it back to me. If I'm honest, me being an actor, me being a pastor were things where I never wanted to do. If you really know me, I wanted to go to the NFL. Been playing football at the rec league since 7, from Wintermore Park, Conway Middle, South Carolina State. Conway High School and then South Carolina State. And that was all I wanted. That was me putting all my eggs into that basket. And then injuries happened. And then, I took the acting route. But in the beginning of ministry, again, I really didn't want to step into that. And it was just more of me just being faithful with the step. I had a friend at the time, and they asked me, hey, if you didn't make it as an actor, what would you do? And first off, I'm like, don't you ever tell me I'm not going to make it as an actor, because I'm going to make it, right? But I had to think about it and say, well, in this season of life that I'm in, I would love to step into ministry. Not saying I wanted to be a pastor. I just wanted to be able to contribute to the kingdom in a way that, however he wanted to see me do that. Didn't want to preach, didn't want to teach, none of that. But what was happening was, as I was trying to figure it out, I was out here looking for people to show me the way, when again, the way is Jesus. And so that was a big thing for me, because I had a lot of people that was in my life. Shout out to my bro, Montel Jordan. He was very instrumental in my life, when I came into the church, because he was a pastor, and all those different things, and also still as an artist. And so there was a lot of things I was trying, and again, a lot of people who were famous that I had my hands to, but God was just showing me his son as that example. And so what happened was, again, as I surrendered it, but then also God was giving me these opportunities, because in that season, I started to learn that every good opportunity is not a God opportunity. That it's okay, cool. Yeah, you may make a lot of money doing this, but that's not really his will for your life. And so then I had to learn to discern, okay, what is his will for my life? Every say audition or every booking is not God's will. When I really started getting into that, having a lot of people who was holding me accountable, the boundaries, community, it just started getting to that point to know that regardless of me being an actor, me being an athlete, pastor, whatever, I'm a son first. And I think that was the point where I had to know that anything that I do is for the audience of one. And that's him. I'm not just this for anyone else. I know it's a whole thing where, again, what motivates us is, our hometown, our parents, and our family, and all these different things. But I had to start to live for the audience of one, to work willingly toward the Lord. And so when I started to really make that transition again, I wasn't trying to be elevated in ministry. I just wanted to be faithful where I was. And so I started off by being a small group leader, like leading Bible studies. Then I became a leader amongst leaders, being a coach to those guys. And then from there, God called me on staff at Victory Church, where I was the admin assistant for our young adult ministry, where, again, I believe that God wrecked me and really revealed himself to me in that ministry. Then I became a coordinator, then a director, and then we planted a church in the city of Midtown, where I reside, West Midtown, Atlanta. And I went with that campus to be the next gen pastor, where I was overseeing everything from kids to college. And amongst that whole season of life, I still was acting. I still had passion. I still was doing all the things God called me to. But again, that priority piece of how things were, again, it was God, it was myself, but it was also the church, because that's where I was working. But then also, again, the opportunities of acting that was happening. And the church allowed me, thank God, to continue to be a light in those spaces, as long as I wasn't compromising anything with my faith. And so by doing that and being connected with middle school, high school ministry, college ministry, I started feeling this evangelistic gift in me, pretty much being a pastor outside of the church. I have a lot of schools here in the area that I would mentor and disciple, and what people would call like a chaplain or a character coach for sports teams. I was doing that a lot with schools here in the area. And if I'm honest, as I've been doing that for the last 5 years, I started to feel a shift in my heart, where I was having more passion doing a service on a football field versus in a church full of thousands of people. And it was a moment where I had an opportunity to baptize some of my football players during fall break. And I think that was when things really shifted for me, because I've done services, preached to thousands of people, but it was really being outside the church, because I knew that these young boys have an opportunity to, walk in the doors of a church, have the transportation to come to a church. So I brought the church to them. And so these were conversations that I've had with my pastors for about a year and a half or so. And while that was happening in my heart, M2TI was something that I was doing for the past 3 years, but not really full throttle. And what happened last May, it almost would be a year, I resigned as pastor at Victory Church. to do ministry to the industry full time. And so they blessed me. Everything was good. And I just stepped out, and now I'm doing, ministry to the industry, where again, it's catering to the entertainment world. I have a lot of influencers, actors, directors, and people that I mentor and consult on a one-on-one basis. I also do master classes for that, but I also do, I'm in the school system. So what I call E3, which is education, entertainment, and extracurricular activities. And that's pretty much what I do in that area of bringing what I call anointed alignment with biblical principles, achieving true transformation in their respective field.
Yeah, for you to say that you didn't want to be a preacher, ...
Hey man,
that's an understatement. It's an understatement.
Yeah.
It's an understatement. So look, Brother Erskine, I understand you had some tribulations in the past. For example, and some health issues. We don't have to go there if you don't want, but you said you were threatened with asthma attack and pneumonia.
Yes, sir.
Long time ago.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know this story. So I was actually in the 3rd grade. And because I know I got a lot of people back home listening, we can go there. So I was in the 3rd grade. I grew up with asthma. So every year, springtime, I would always have an asthma attack. It was like clockwork. And there was one particular night, I was helping my uncle with his logging truck, and it was raining, and I ended up getting sick. And then also having an asthma attack on top of that. So I had pneumonia and an asthma attack at the same time. Went to Conway Hospital. They didn't know what was going on. They ran a lot of tests on me, just couldn't figure it out. And so they flew me to Charleston to just figure it out. And so again, I don't know what's going on. I just know I'm sick. My mom's there, my cousin's there. I remember like my cousins and brothers, they were saying like, they saw the helicopter go over the house, leaving Conway Hospital, going to Charleston. And there was just a night where typically, again, I've been in the hospital a lot, so I know you have to get your IV done. And sometimes they flush it out and different things. And if they do that, it'll burn a little bit. And all I remember is on that night, my IV was burning. And so I just, hey, somebody come in, flush it out, do your thing. And one doctor came in, and before you knew it, they were rushing my mom out, and more doctors were coming in. And so I'm panicking, but I'm always remembering, like my mom always told me I have to calm down, whenever I'm having an asthma attack, because it'll get worse. And so I just remember like all these doctors on top of me, and I'm feeling scared. And I remember my grandma, she always would tell me, if you ever get scared, say the 23rd Psalm. And so I never listened to her. I never studied it. So I was over here trying to like mumble the words and try to get it out. And I remember there was an Indian doctor over me. And I said, sir, can you help me with the 23rd Psalm? Can you say it over me? And he was like, son, I don't know that. And that was the last thing I remember. So I actually, I died on a hospital bed that night. And again, I didn't see no white light. Most people talk about that. That was literally the last memory I had. And I woke up, the next day, my mother laying on top of me and a nurse, just kind of working some different things. And I'm just like, what happened? And the nurse said, son, we lost you last night. Wow. And so I always remember, even just hearing stories. My grandmother stayed home. And they literally said the reason why I'm still alive is because of her prayers. So I'm thankful for that. And every time I get an opportunity to speak, I always say there's a reason. Like my grandma would say, there's a reason why I'm still here. And this is this reason being played out today, that I'm here to share my story and be able to encourage people in what God has called them to.
Absolutely. Man, such a heart-beating testimony. I saw part of your bio is that you graduated Cum Laude from South Carolina State University.
Yes, sir. Bulldogs, go Dogs.
2013.
Yep.
Cum Laude, and congratulations to you on that. Now, to our audience, and you don't mind me saying that your mom is Miss Betty Goss, the most
She's a
efficient,
Bucksport icon.
yeah, and she's the
Alleged.
most efficient, efficient head or director of the JFK of the James Fraser Community Center. Very efficient lady.
Yeah.
Love working with her. Love working with her.
She get it from my grandma.
Huh?
She get it from my grandma.
Ah, okay.
You know what? It's great that you are paying honor in multiple ways tonight, multiple expressions to your grandma. And, you've now connected that Betty got it from your grandma. So you had a very strong village.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, there are a lot of young people who do not have, at least one somebody that can pour into them and encourage them, give them that spiritual foundation that they need to, just persevere, to keep pushing forward. And that kind of it probably is the reason why there's so many issues that our young people are facing nowadays. And unfortunately, they, have not had the kind of spiritual journey you've had to know, where their true strength and power comes from, and or what they can lean on in order to make it through certain situations. And so, as you think about some of the issues that young people face today, what do you think is like the most, prominent issue? And what would you say to the village as far as what we can do to, support and uplift young people?
Yeah, man, it breaks my heart. If I'm honest, man, getting a little emotional about it. My mom calls me a lot about what's happening back home in Bucksport, in Conway, in Horry County, and I don't like it. And I've done a lot here in Atlanta and LA, and again, it's the same issue is universal. To a lot of different things that's happening within our young people. So for you to even say the village, if I'm honest, there is no village anymore. So we can start there. There's not the, I did a message years ago at Victory and I called it A Voice in the Village. And I talked about what that village looked like in Bucksport. If I did something crazy around the corner, that means that person could say whatever they need to say to me, beat me, I'll get beat where I need to go until I got home, till my mama found out, my grandma found out, right?
Right.
I say you got to beat your kids, take that up with the Lord, however you need to do that. But what I'm saying is it's this level of accountability that's not there anymore. We're allowing our young people to do whatever, whenever. What are the guardrails? What are the guidelines? And a couple of things that I see a lot. And I'm not going to just put it all on COVID, but I will be honest to say a lot of what 2020 did to our young people, it shows up now. Again, 5 years later, you see the product of what it looks like to be home and not be taught the right way or whatever the case is. And so there's a lot of anger issues. There's a lot of bitterness. There are places and spaces that they can't process. Where they need what I call conflict resolution, finding another way. A lot of them don't know how to communicate. So you think about when they're all they're doing is using screens, they don't know how to speak to a real person.
Right.
So if they don't know how to speak to a real person whenever an issue resides, then they're going to handle it however they feel. Because a lot of them are reacting versus responding. There's a lack of emotional intelligence, not just in children, but in adults as well. Us being in tune to what our emotions are. I always say that emotions are indicators. They're like a check engine light of something deeper that's actually happening within you. And so, again, we have to go beneath the surface on those different things. There's a lack of drive, a mindlessness. Again, they just want to step into places and just allow their minds to wander. And I think a lot of it, again, it's what I see a lot is we would put on events for these type of issues, but we won't walk alongside people with these issues. And it's going to take more than somebody famous coming down to the hood and having a talk and thinking that's just going to change. What has to happen is we have to equip the household. We have to equip the parents. And again, we all have to have this common language of what we need to communicate to them and hold them accountable to it. And it's going to be hard because I was being held accountable at the age of 6. Different things, right? Again, our upbringing and how we did that. Sports as well. Sports helped out a lot with that. For those who don't have a father in their home, they'll have coaches, they'll have brothers, on the teams and different things. A lot of them have different options now. Everybody likes to talk about, how Conway High is not what they used to be, right? Throw that out there. Because again, the students, the parent or the kids are not who they used to be, right? And the ways of how they're being raised and the things that we're allowing. And so it's time for all of us to step up as a family, as a village, as a unit, and be able to call things out. Because now what happens, let's just say you see something up with a kid, but you don't have authority to say nothing. But what if you had that authority? You kind of do, but the parent will more so shut that down because, again, just more so taking up for. I can go on and on about that, but yeah, those are a lot of the things that I see that is universal. That is something that I pray daily on our young people. And even for me, like what I do with my company, like we have conflict resolution curriculum. Again, ways of how we can start these conversations. Again, there's a high rate of suicide and self-harm.
Yes.
Really equipping people on that, like being able to see the signs, being able to create safe spaces. Because a lot of them, one of the things that I do big is I build relationships first. I'm not trying to go in and tell people, hey, this is what you need to do. This is how this goes, whatever. Because I've learned, and again, I've been working with youth and young adults, students for over a decade now. And I've just learned relationships go a long way. But you need to build a relationship with the people that's in your home. So mothers and fathers, relationship with your child. I know they're not old enough to tell you what to do, but they do have something to say. But my question to you is, will you allow them to at least say it, whether they're wrong or right? Allow them to kind of get some of those things off their chest. Allow them to get to a point to trust you, to share what they actually got going on. And the other thing is, what may be small to you is big to them. And I think a lot of times we have to put ourselves, humble ourselves and put ourselves in their shoes to say, okay, well, because this, I don't know, a girl called another girl ugly or something like that, that's big for them.
Right. So
instead of dismissing it, how about you affirm them and telling them that they're beautiful? That little girl don't know what she's talking about, right? And so it's the lack of affirmations that, that allows us to allow our kids to go in that direction. Affirmation, attention, affection. Those are the 3 A's that I feel that this generation is lacking in, and why they're going in the direction that they're going. And so they just need someone to steward them and steward them well, not just in this big moment. But what happens is in these big moments, it will create momentum for a movement of young people to truly move in the direction that they need to go in. And I honestly, I believe that this generation that's being raised up, I don't speak bad about them. I believe this is the generation that will truly change the trajectory of this world. But we can't be the ones keep putting them down, saying they're not, oh, they're this and they're that. It's time to start speaking life over these young people, whether you see it or not. Because I believe even in bad situations, if you speak life, life will come about. And that's the seed that you should plant moving forward. But yeah, I can go on and on about that. But those are a few things that I see. And my heart, again, not just here in Atlanta, but especially in Horry County, I hear all the things. My mama stay on the news, so she always sending us a link and what's going on, and I can't stand it. I tell her get off the news. But man, it breaks my heart from some of my people I went to school with, or people who it's their children, or this happened and that happened with drugs and all these different things. And it's really like, man, I really want to see God move within that. And so I'm even I've been kind of getting with my team and just trying to see what can we do, what type of structure can we build that I can take home, and not just, okay, I come down one time or whatever, but also start to mobilize the community to come alongside that.
Mm-hmm. So Erskine, it's, there's a couple of questions I'm going to get to in just a moment that are in the thread, but as you were talking, it popped into my head, microwave generation. And, I think that that's kind of a part of the issue or the challenge that is happening right now with this, instant gratification and easy access to things. And, in the world of social media platforms where everything is glorified, like you said, your looks and, stardom and money and power and things like that. I've heard people say, well, we got to learn how to speak the language of the younger generation or the young generation. And I don't know that we really have the secret to the language. The language to me constantly changes because there's just so much that's introduced every single day. It's almost like it's it's just constantly evolving right before our eyes. And it makes it very difficult for older generations or more seasoned generations to actually figure out, how do we bridge those gaps and have those conversations and get the young people to really listen to what we're saying and to take it in as, wisdom and sage advice to help them navigate life. And it gets tougher every day. And that's why it's important for young people your age. Like, how old are you?
33.
How old are you? 33 years old. Okay, my daughter's 30. And so whenever I hear something that I can automatically pin as wise coming out of my daughter's mouth, I think to myself, she's so young. I can't say that she's had, so many experiences that would, cause us to label her as wise, but we can't dismiss the experiences that young people are having and what they're being exposed to and how they're processing things. And so it's like, your level of wisdom, my daughter's level of wisdom, and all the, generations to come, they're living and speaking from the place that they know, their own lived experiences. And so we have to figure out how to tap into those lived experiences and have those conversations so that they can feel heard and seen. And also that they understand that, there's a grand history of elders who, have some things to add to what it is that they are trying to figure out in terms of like how to navigate life. And we can't do it the way we used to do it. You brought back some fond memories, because you're right. I remember, H.H. Singleton when I was in school, in middle school, and, those were the paddling days and things like that. And you're right. If you got it at school, you're going to get it at home. Yeah. And you can't even do that now. You can't even think about that now. So there's like a couple of questions here. Well, there's one. Ms. Dorothy Reeves brought up a point that the ages that they strive and struggle to reach are 14 to 17. So do you have any thoughts on how we can reach, that age group? Especially in light of, all of the things that are kind of tugging on them right now, the age of fake news and false news and misinformation and bad information and all that. How do we reach that 14 to 17-year-old group before they merge into the world?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say a couple of things. I literally felt a download from the Holy Spirit, so I got to give it. For one, for you acknowledging your daughter is wise is a start. And I think even with that, to know that they, like I said, they have something to say, but will you allow them to say it? Because he feels comfortable to share wisdom with you because you've opened that door, because you gave her that space, right? So that's one. Two, I feel a lot of times, I think a lot of times it's an excuse to say we don't know the language. Now, hear me when I say this. I see you just kind of got up a little bit.
I want to know, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of times we feel like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, they change their words up all the time, and I got to do it like a rap song, or I got to wear a hat, or I got to wear some J's to talk to them. Man, I literally just felt this. God says the language that you should communicate is time and care. That is a language that they understand and they're able to give what they have to offer. It is, I think, because I see it a lot. I remember, even youth ministry days when I first got to the church, man, it was this older lady, wasn't cool at all. Man, when I tell you her small group was always like, everything was always good things always happening in her group. But this lady ain't own a pair of J's. She didn't know what was cool. She literally took time with these kids and she cared for them.
Yes.
And that was this example that I was just like, well, yeah, I may be a little bit younger, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even have the language for real. Things change so much. I am considered not cool anymore. I'm okay with that. Like, yeah, I got a nose ring and earrings and all that stuff. That ain't my people. Me trying to try something like, no, this is who I am. But it's this thing where language is time and care. And I think as we're trying to like create this script of what we should say or whatever, man, see what they like, what they don't like. How are you doing? Really sitting with them. Hey, what do you like to eat? Well, let's go out and do this. And I think a lot of times, even with the question, the 14 to 17, because a lot of them will write them off when they're in middle school, when they're in high school, because middle school is actually the time to really prime them, which is true. But it's not too late when they're 17, 14 to 17. But it's also being able to take the time out and give them new perspective. I think a lot of times we want to see results, but we're not willing to do the work for those results to come. And so, because one of the things, let's be honest, yep, I'm about to do it. Because we don't want to spend time with our kids, we put a device in their hand. Can I go there?
You can go there. Yes, we are there. Yes.
Again, the time, care. And so what happens is now you want to try to show that love, and it's just like, this is foreign to me. Yes. What are you doing? Leave me alone. Get out of my life. So it's this way of like, if you raise up a child in the way that they should go, again, it's that level of, again, never departing from that level of correction that has been given, that level of love, that level of care, that level of time. And it's transferable to the other people that they will be extended out to as well, the people that they will have influence on. And so I just look at it as, man, let's just start by getting to know people, whether you like it or not. One of the things, again, when I was a youth pastor, my kids, my students, they liked stuff that I didn't like. And I always use this example. Anime is a new thing now that a lot of the kids are in. I don't like anime. I think it's whack. I think it's boring. But I know they like it. So that's something I was able to use to have conversation with them. So whenever they got their phones out and all that kind of stuff, they start telling me about anime. Now we can have this conversation. Then I can find some common ground of like, oh, okay, so anime is like, to my generation, Dragon Ball Z. Like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, you know Dragon Ball Z. So now I'm cool because I know Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, right.
So it's this ways of, again, taking time. Like, again, I can't be the most important person in a conversation with a young person. They have to feel important.
Yes.
I think a lot of times we can come out very dominating in our conversations with them. That's why they shrink. That's why they don't want to say anything. But when you start to lift them up and allow them to speak, and not just speak about the things you want to speak to, but what they want to speak on. Right? I literally, again, before getting on here, I went to one of my high schools, again, seeing cheerleading practice, baseball practice, track practice, and football. I didn't go in there with an agenda trying to talk about Jesus. I went in there just to just build relationship. I haven't seen y'all in a while. What you got going on? Oh, okay, I'm doing this. One of the kids, he's about to get signed to go to a school. So I talked to him about that. Or baseball. I don't know nothing about baseball, but I stayed out there for like an hour just being with them and learning while I was out there. So being able to show the time that I'm contributing to that, and then the level of care of whatever questions they have in that as well. So I think those are the two components that I think we need to start at. Because I think we try to do these big things, and we don't have to be big. I think we can start off small by just having a conversation. And it may be awkward, but I think that's a tension that you can manage to just start those conversations. And again, start building some equity within those young people. Get to the point where then they're sharing stuff that you never thought that they would share with you. So that's what works for me. I'm not a parent. But I've just been able to be used as a spiritual dad to a lot of young people within this last decade.
So the time and care, I heard common thread and, being relatable. And I think that, all of those things definitely create the perfect combination to build the relationships. And you're right, it does take that time and that care. And so Carolyn Hickman Williams, thank you so much for joining us tonight. She wants to know, what role should the church play in bringing back the village relationships for our youth and young adults?
That is a great question.
Yeah, I had that written down to ask.
Man.
You can go there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there. I'm just really thinking about it, because if I'm honest, the church did play a significant role back in the day, whether I liked it or not. Whether we go to church and then we got to get picked up to go to a youth thing at 4:00, the van coming around the block to get all of us, and but it was the engagement pieces, giving young people something to do, but also it's going to take people who are willing to do those things. And I'm gonna be honest, there's not a lot of people willing to work with kids anymore. If we're honest. In the school systems, a lot of teachers are leaving. They're finding other ways to get paid. It's not about purpose anymore, right? Or passion. It's about paper. And so with that, it's, creating some other opportunities, allowing the church to be some type of a safe haven. I kind of say this thing where the church is for those who are sick. It's a hospital for humanity. And so if that's the case, for them to come in to get taken care of spiritually, and then be able to come back out. And so I think, again, programs, not just an event, but programs that's really going to walk them through. Honestly, people stepping up to the plate. I believe that God has called people to help this generation, but you're fearful. You feel like you don't have the time. And again, I get it, because kids, they want to know that you can commit, and they want to make sure that you're going to be consistent. Because if we're honest, a lot of adults have been inconsistent in their life. So that's the big fear. And again, I'm gonna be honest, that was a big fear of mine, because I'm doing everything. I'm acting and all these different things, but it was this whole level of me having to prioritize that because I knew it was important. And so, yeah, I think, again, the programs that they need to do, getting them involved, getting in their life, not just telling them what to do, but giving them the why behind the what. If I'm honest, that was something that I didn't get in my earlier years. That was something that I got when I got older. But then also, I thought, being a part of the church, you had to be perfect. I think that's a big thing that makes kids and students and youth shy away from the church, because they made mistakes. So I guess I don't need to go there. I don't need to be involved in this or whatever. But it's really getting to the point of getting your hands dirty. But then also, it's, again, the church has to equip the full body, the parents, the community, because even in the message that, and I'll send it to you guys, that I talked about, there's even people who are not parents where, again, I was able to equip them because they play a part as well. Those who are single and those who may be dating or whatever, of what part can you contribute to a young person's life as the church? Because you see young people every day of your life. You see them in the grocery store, you see them at the gas station, wherever. How can you be able to impart or be able to pour into them in that way? So it has to start with the church being able to equip, being able to pour into them and show them the way, and it be biblical, not just an opinion, but how God actually says of what it looks like to bring structure and all these different things. And then we go out. My biggest prayer, and when I was a pastor within the ministry, is, Lord, allow us not to be hearers, but be doers. Because a lot of times we can hear something and go in one ear and not the other, but it's just literally like this transformation has to take place from we heard it to where it goes in our head, it goes into our heart, and it allows some transformation to happen as that seed went forth to truly go and do what you're called to do. So it's a lot that has to happen there. And again, I know a lot of people don't have the resources and the budget to do all those different things. Just start small. Just bring them together. Talk about a topic, do a movie night, any Bible studies, whatever the case is, having them engaged, because these kids need something to do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't give them something to do, they're gonna find something to do, and what they find is not gonna be good.
This is true.
Nine times out of 10, it will not
Yeah.
be good.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
So look, Brother Erskine, I know we're coming up on approaching time here now, but you know, your next project, you have projects in mind, right? Coming in mind to produce and all that good stuff. Might you explore producing one that involves maybe Bucksport? And so, you know, you never know. A time of your life in Bucksport.
Yeah.
You know, as being part of the production. It dawned on me.
I'm gonna take that as confirmation. I'm gonna tell you this, from my cousins, my brothers, to friends in high school, they always tell me, "Bruh, you gotta make a movie about back home." And I'll be like, "Man, nobody trying to hear that." Like, but even just hearing it from you today, and it just because of the space that I'm in, I'm open to that. I've been praying a lot about just different things that God wants to do. Like, I even see again in the next 3 to 5 years that M2TI will be also a production company where we will produce films, and not Christian films, but have biblical principles. It's a difference. And so I want to be able to still give the real, something that you will enjoy with a big budget and it don't look janky and all that type of stuff, but then also give you that level of encouragement, telling people stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
That will be something that I will be doing in the future. I'm praying on what it looks like as a kid from Bucksport, and just my whole journey. And I believe even in that, I think I had to even get to a point to understand that people do need to hear my story. And if I'm honest, I really didn't start telling my story for about a couple years now, just because I just being humble and I don't want to put myself out there. Like, I don't want to make myself bigger than what I like, all of that. But it's honestly, God is giving me the green light on, no, your story needs to be told. So of course that will be something that I'll be doing. But even with my company currently, my plans are to I'm trying to get into school systems, in the way that I'm here in Atlanta. I've been in Dallas. I've done some stuff in Dallas, Texas. Done some stuff in LA. I want to get back home. I'm working with Conway High School to get in there in the spring to be able to talk to some of the seniors and also just all the schools in Horry County. So that's what I'm working on right now. But then also getting sports teams, and then also my clients. I have clients in the NFL, those who are A-list celebrities. And pretty much what that is, it's, keeping them down the path of righteousness, because there are a lot of people who you see who are believers, but they just don't know how to navigate that space. And so because of the things that I've done, been able to help that. But then it's also me going into those secular spaces and giving them the biblical principles in that way, where if it's a football field, a basketball court, or track, or wherever the case is, being able to encourage and truly bring true transformation in that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, the truth of the matter is that there are Bucksports all over the country, all over the world.
Absolutely.
So, your story will resonate with a lot of people, even if they, are not from your hometown. And it's just amazing to see what all you've done in your life, as they say, in your little life. But the great thing about it is that you're living it purposefully, and you're doing an amazing thing, and it's led by the divine. You had, like you said, divine downloads while you were sitting here talking, and I can tell you're very thoughtful, and you're very intentional about what you're saying and what you're doing. And so I see nothing but wonderful things coming out of all of the goals that you've set. And Brother Edward, obviously there are some great things coming out of Bucksport, South Carolina, and Erskine C Johnson III is one of them. So we appreciate having you here tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, you might make some stars out of Bucksport, man. Some people in Bucksport, you never know.
Yeah.
Next Denzel Washington might come from Bucksport.
Come on.
So Minister Dorothy Reed says, come and speak to our summer programs in Horry County, please, and thank you. Yes, and Hannah McIver Sands says, God bless, continue to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Absolutely. That is wonderful. And of course, the icon, Margie McIver, blessings for much success. And so, Erskine, you have, Veronica's stepdaughter, she's watching You know what?
What up, Gus?
This is wonderful, Clarissa. Look, Bucksport is in the house. Miranda Sherman. Miranda, thank you
Come
for
on,
watching.
Miranda, what up?
Oh, goodness, look at this. Bucksport is showing up tonight. That's awesome. Your native son is doing a wonderful thing. So, Erskine, thank you for being with us tonight. We really do appreciate it. And anytime you want to come and share a word, brother, we might have to do an inspirational segment or something. Have Erskine pop in for 5 minutes on the show and say a few things every now and again.
I'm down with it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just want to let everyone know that if you want to know more information about Erskine's ministry, you can go to m2ti.org, where his information is available on the web. And of course, you can always get in touch with his mama. There you go. She's kind of acting as an agent, so to say, in a little way.
She trying.
Yeah, but we really appreciate having you here tonight. Thank you so much, and just God bless and keep you safe as you continue with your ministry.
Thank you.
On your next full production, we want the premiere or the trailer to be right here on WCM Live.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a little quick thing though. So just to let everybody know, since I'm on here, I will be on a national commercial for Hardee's coming out soon. So when that drops, y'all be able to see that. I actually just filmed it in Nashville last week. So got that going. I also got a movie audition that I just did. So praying that will work out for a movie next year.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Yes. Well, God's continued blessings to you. Thank you so much, Erskine. And we'll be on the lookout. I'll be screaming at you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Well, Brother Edward, it was really good to talk to Erskine tonight. And we have another special guest who's going to share some information with us tonight. She's been in the backstage kind of watching and cheering Erskine on from the back. And it's, of course, none other than Reverend Cheryl Moore Adamson. How are you tonight?
I am wonderful. I am grinning up something over Bucksport. I don't know how many of y'all know that my beginnings, my roots are in Bucksport. My grandmother, Violet McCall Moore, is buried in the Bucksport Cemetery.
Wow.
And those are my roots. And some good things can come out of Bucksport. I wanted you to hold him on so I could say to him, come over to Macedonia and help us. Listen, as you say, there are Bucksports everywhere. There's the hood everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I think that everybody on this call tonight is going to be praying that the Lord would speak to him about how much we need him in our presence. So I just loved everything that he had to say. We could listen to him all night, but to hear this young man testify about how God desired a relationship with him and invited him into his work and spoke to him. And he had a crisis of belief where he had to make a decision and make an adjustment to his life, not for balance, as he said, but for the absolute priority of God having first place in his life. We just thank God for him and for his mother, Miss Betty, and our prayer, all of us on here, let's pray together, y'all, that he will consider this his Macedonian call and come back to Horry County and help us help our children, help our parents to help our children. That was a wonderful, wonderful show you all had tonight.
Absolutely. So,
Cheryl, you've got a wonderful show coming up.
Exactly. I was getting ready to say, you have some wonderful news to share with us too.
Yeah, the mighty Whittemore Race Pass Historical Society.
Well, God has a way, and it's mighty sweet. I know it doesn't look like we think it should always, but we have to give God space to do in our lives what he wants to do. And what he has done with the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society is, though we began with one mission in mind, he had more in mind. We wanted to save the equalization school, the Whittemore Elementary School, And I think more broadly than that, God wants us, as Erskine said, to save our community, to save our village. And in so doing, we're having to remember some really important things. So coming up on May the 17th, Saturday, May 17th, 2025 at 6 o'clock p.m. at the Mason Temple Church of God in Christ Banquet Hall, we will be hosting our second annual Whittemore Race Path Historical Society Hall of Fame Banquet and Gala. That will cost you $65 to come and participate with us as we honor some people who have been so important in our lives. We want to be honoring some people who have done important work in community service, important work in the business arena, important work in building, important work in law and medicine and education. We are looking forward to drawing our community together. I don't know how many of you know the commentator Charles Blow, but Charles Blow is calling for repatriation of Black people back south, and he's calling for a reverse migration. And you may have heard me say it before. We got to call people off the beach, off Carolina Forest, and from New York and all about, and have them to come back home to rebuild our communities. Because when we were growing up, the doctor lived next door to the person, the plumber, yeah, you name it, and we were together. Your school teacher was also your Sunday school teacher, and your Sunday school teacher may have been a housekeeper at Myrtle Beach. That's but right. She was an authority figure in your life, and you gave her the respect that she was due. And that was because we lived close together. But now, because of integration, our communities are scattered, and people are one person on their block, one Black family on their block, and they don't know their neighbors. They don't even feel safe in the communities that they're in. So what God is doing through the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society is teaching us the true art of Sankofa, and that is going back and getting those things that are of value to us and bringing them forward so that we can be reminded of what is important to us. And Lord knows, for such a time as this, we need to remember who we are and whose we are. If we are going to survive the madness that we are being exposed to right now, we got to come together. So we want everybody that is related to the Whittemore School, elementary, middle, high school, to come and join us and support us in our effort to rebuild our community and lift up those persons who have been so instrumental in keeping our community alive.
So if you wanted everybody that's related to Whittemore School, we should have wall-to-wall people at this gala.
We should have wall-to-wall people. We are going to be at Mason Temple.
That's just locally.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So we're giving you good notice. Saturday, May 17th at 6 o'clock p.m. You can get a ticket from any member of the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society. We're going to be selling paper tickets, April. We old school because we want to do a hand-to-hand relationship building exercise, especially with our older people who are a bit, technologically challenged. So we have 175 tickets. First 175 people there, we're going to have something special for you.
You do what you have to do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So thank you all for allowing us this time to remind you that we need to remember, lest we forget. We don't want to forget how God has blessed us.
Absolutely. So best regards to our 96-year-old that's over there on
Bayside Avenue. She is holding it down.
She's a pretty
She
one,
is
I tell
holding
you.
it down.
She's a cutie.
Yeah.
Man.
She's something else.
Well, all right. So looking forward to this gala and looking forward to participating.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You mentioned the paper tickets. Just one thing. You mentioned the paper tickets, and did you
Yes.
say when they're going on sale or how people can get in touch with someone to get a paper ticket?
Of course, you can call me. The chairperson of our gala is Valerie Skipper. And of course, you know Carolyn Hickman Williams, you know Edna DeWitt, you know Marcia. Why am I blocking on Marcia's name just now? But all of the persons who are in the Whittemore Race Path Historical Society, we're going to have it on our Facebook pages. When you see that, you know you can message us or give us a call. And we hope to be able to get around to everybody, but we'll keep coming back to y'all, helping you help us get it out there.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Brother Edward, do you want to kick into the cover for the month? We'll keep
Everybody know
What is that?
Yeah, you watch this cover.
Oh.
This is this month's magazine.
March is Women's History Month.
And you can be privy to all the contents of that issue right at the bottom. So be sure and check it out. It's going to be at a lot of your places that you frequent to buy things, doctor's offices, pharmacists' offices, and in this issue, you're looking on page, and we didn't bring it with it, but I guess on page 9, it shows you the number to call if you want to subscribe, and we go from there.
Mm-hmm. And the edition is also available on the wcmagazine.net website, so you can check it out now if you'd like, as an e-copy.
All right.
All right. Well, Brother Edward, we have had an incredible show tonight. It's been wonderful to see Reverend Adamson and, of course, our special guest, Erskine C Johnson III, Bucksport native, just doing some incredible things in the community and around the world. And we just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Those of you far and near, I mean, we had people from all over the place with us tonight. And I'm sure Erskine brought them out. And that's support. That's love. That's wonderful. Especially Bucksport. Shouts out to Bucksport for showing up for your homeboy tonight. And if
we're going to have Erskine have you participate, Reverend. You're going to, you be one of the stars in the next play.
Yeah. Well, listen, I want to say one more thing to Erskine, though. I want him to know that Palmetto Missionary Baptist Church and Palmetto Works Community Development Corporation will be holding its second annual Children's Defense Fund Freedom School. And we really do want you to come and meet our children and read to them. I want to talk to you about Freedom Schools. It's a wonderful vehicle for reaching the group that you're trying to reach.
Yeah, we're all going to assimilate this summer.
Yes.
Because the World Community Magazine is going to resume its summer jobs program. Going to employ as many as our young people from 14 to 17 as possible. Okay, so.
All right now.
Yeah. Stay tuned. All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any topics or subjects that you'd like for us to cover during our weekly broadcast, please drop me a message on Facebook. Go to our World Community Magazine Facebook page and send us a message. You can phone Brother Edward. If you have my number, you can hit me up, and we'll do our best to bring these special guests and topics to you during our weekly show. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we hope that you all have a wonderful evening and a great rest of your week. Take care, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night and Godspeed.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook.